Hello everyone and welcome to a new video on the channel. This video is going to be the start of a new series of videos that I have just thought of that is more of like a help guide in a way. Um, I've seen a few other channels sort of doing a similar type of thing to this, and I thought that I'd do it a bit in my own way. And it's like a top 10 slash top 5 video. And what I'm going to do, a lot of the time in my comment section, I get people recommending certain films that I've picked up to me. So I thought I would give back and give everyone recommendations from me of what I think people should watch, be it from different genres, different actors, things like that, different directors. And I'm just going to give top 10 or top 5 lists depending on how many of the films I think make the cut. And I'll give an honourable mention as well in each video. So it can kind of help you decide what film you want to watch if you want to watch a specific genre. I mean, not all these films you may like I do, but these are films that I think generally are good films, well received films in general. So, yeah, I'll get on with it and start off. So the first film, which is my honourable mention, is a film directed by Judd Apatow and a sort of sequel to a film higher up on my list, and that is This Is 40, which, as it says on the front, is the sort of sequel to Knocked Up, which is in my list but higher up. And this follows the main character's sister from Knocked Up, played by Leslie Mann, and her husband Paul Rudd, as they basically hit 40 and what's like struggling with kids, work, life in general. And it's got a really good ensemble cast as well. I mean, you got John Lithgow, Albert Brooks, Melissa McCarthy, as you can see on the front cover, Jason Segel, Megan Fox. Um, it's a really good film. I think it's quite underrated. It's probably maybe Judd Apatow's most underrated film. Not a lot of people talk about it, but I really like it. Obviously, it's not my favourite because Knocked Up, as I've said, is higher, and I don't believe there is any of his other ones. No, there's none of his other ones on here because even though I love them all, and this list was quite hard to make because I have a lot of comedy films and comedy is very broad. But I thought I should definitely get this in somewhere, even if it is just an honourable mention, because I think, as I say, it's one that people don't really talk about much, and it's actually a really good film. Not just a comedy; it's about life as well. Great cast, and it's just a really good film. So that is This Is 40, which is my honourable mention. Next up, coming in at number 10. From here, these are all must-watch films for me. In terms of comedy, they're all fantastic comedy films. And it was very difficult to order these, but I have managed to order them. And number 10 is Pineapple Express with Seth Rogen and James Franco. Obviously, this is about two stoners who are witness to a murder by a evil drug lord, and then this drug lord and corrupt cop are trying to kill them basically, and they go on an adventure, and it's really funny. You've obviously, as I said, got Seth Rogen, James Franco. You also got Danny McBride in this, who is hilarious. Might be one of his best roles. Um, it's just really funny stoner comedy. If you like Judd Apatow films, this is produced by Judd Apatow, who's produced a lot of comedy films over the years, and directed by David Gordon Green, who probably now is most notable for directing the 2018 Halloween film and the upcoming Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends. He's also got big comedy background. He's done a lot of comedy films. This probably being his most famous comedy film. But yeah, if you like comedies, you like stoner comedies, this is definitely a must-watch because I don't think you'd be disappointed. That is Pineapple Express, which is my number 10. Number 9 is one that I watched. I don't know whether it was for the first time or rewatched. I think it was for the first time all the way through recently, and I couldn't stop laughing all the way through. It's excellent. The casting in this is excellent, and it's a really good film. Doesn't overstay its runtime and does what it needs to do. I have also seen the sequel, which is good, but nowhere near as good as the first one, and that is Horrible Bosses. I believe this is the extended edition as well. I think both of them have extended editions. This is 98 minutes. Well, it says totally inappropriate edition, so I assume that it's, yeah, it includes extended cut. So, and I know the second one also has an extended cut as well. So, but this is excellent. I mean, the pairing of these three are excellent. Obviously, you've got Jason Bateman, who's kind of the serious, taking everything serious kind of guy. Jason Sudeikis' character, who just wants to have sex with every woman and doesn't care what he has to do to get it. And Charlie Day's character, who's kind of the idiot of the group, always messes things up for them, gets things wrong. These two probably mess everything up all the time, and then it's down to Jason Bateman's character to fix things. I believe so. It's Nick, Jason Bateman's character's called, and then Jason Sudeikis' character is called Kurt, and then Charlie Day's character is Dale, and they basically hate their bosses and decide they're going to kill him. And you've got Colin Farrell, who plays Kurt's boss, who's a bit of a druggie and just doesn't really care about anything except for money. Then you've got Jennifer Aniston, who plays Dale's boss, who is basically, she basically just wants to have sex with him no matter what she has to do, and it's just very inappropriate in the workplace. She obviously, as I say, plays his boss. And then you have Kevin Spacey, who plays, well, I don't know the character's name. I should though, because I've seen both of the films. I'm not going to sit here thinking, I would think of it eventually, but he obviously plays Nick's boss, Jason Bateman's character's boss. And as I say, they just try and kill them. And it's just a comedy, really funny, because everything always gets messed up, as I say, mainly by these two. Just a lot of funny stuff happens, and it's just a really fun film. That's Horrible Bosses, which is number 9. Number 8 is one that I believe it came out the same year as Horrible Bosses. This is from the director of this is a hint for an upcoming film. One of my favourite comedy films, directed by Todd Phillips. So you probably guess what the film in question upcoming is. And this is just hilarious. Obviously, you've got Zach Galifianakis in this, who is hilarious, especially when he plays this type of character, and Robert Downey Jr., and that is Due Date. As you can see from the top, you can probably guess what the film that I was talking about is. This is funny. It's a road trip film. I love road trip films. Everything always gets messed up. Again, you've got Robert Downey Jr., who plays a serious character that just wants to get home to witness the birth of his first child. And Zach Galifianakis, who's an aspiring actor trying to get to Hollywood, who is a bit of an idiot, and just always messes things up. And it's just hilarious what happens. It's just physical comedy. Some things that they say, the exchange of dialogue to each other is hilarious. It's a really funny film. And with most comedies, I find the good thing is they're not overly long. They're usually about an hour and a half, so they don't overstay their runtime, and they do what they need to do in that time. This definitely does that, and is hilarious to me, which is why it is number 8 in my list. Next up is a film I've already mentioned, my favourite Judd Apatow film, and that is Knocked Up, starring Seth Rogen, Katherine Heigl, Paul Rudd, Leslie Mann, obviously stars of This Is 40, and is about two people, a slacker and a career girl, who sleep together, and she ends up getting pregnant, and they've got to try and work to be a couple because they don't want the child to grow up with broken parents. And it's just, again, it's not just stupid comedy. It has, like a lot of Judd Apatow's films, it has a lot of heart. The deeper story is a lot. The story is a lot deeper in his films, and it still has that comedy there, and it's hilarious. And you've also got in this a great supporting cast. You've got Jay Baruchel, Jonah Hill, Jason Segel, and you've also got Harold Ramis, who plays Seth Rogen's character's dad, who's hilarious in this. Yeah, it's just a great film. Great late night film, like most of these are. Um, if you're a fan of Judd Apatow films, or you want to start watching Judd Apatow films, I recommend you check this one out first. Then obviously This Is 40, because they are great films to me, as are all of Judd Apatow's films. I love them all equally, pretty much. But this one just a bit more because I think it's got a deeper meaning and it's just a funnier film. That is Knocked Up, which was number 7, I believe. Next up again, it's a film I've hinted to. One of my favourite, there's a few more, there's 3 more in front of this before we get to my all-time favourite comedy films and favourite films. This is one of the best modern comedy films. Again, when you get the perfect cast, it works, and these 3 you couldn't have cast better in my opinion, and that is the Hangover extended cut with Zach Galifianakis, Bradley Cooper and Ed Helms. Obviously, let's try and get their names. I should know their names because the amount of times I've seen this. You got Stu. Oh, I know Doug's the one that they're looking for. I know that's Stu. Ed Helms plays Stu. That's going to bug me now, but I can't remember the other one's names. But it's just absolutely hilarious what happens. Mr. Chow, played by Ken Jeong, one of the best comedy characters of all time in my opinion. He's excellent. Just what he says, the way he does things, just cracks me up every time. The sequels are good, but this is definitely the best one. And if, again, like I said, if you're looking for a late night comedy, this is great. This is the extended cut as well. And it's just a fantastic film. If you've not seen the Hangover films, I strongly urge you to watch them, because I don't think you'll be disappointed if you like comedy, because they are some of the best comedy films ever made. Excuse me. And yeah, just a great film. That is The Hangover. Next up is one that is kind of more of a romantic comedy, shall we say. And it's one of my favourite modern ones. It's got one of my favourite scenes in a movie of all time towards the end. And I think it works well because of the cast that has been brought together. And that is Crazy Stupid Love. Obviously starring Steve Carell, Ryan Gosling, Julianne Moore, Emma Stone, Marissa Tomei and Kevin Bacon, amongst many other great supporting characters. And as I said, it is a romantic comedy about love, like true love, and it's just really good. It's like a lot of comedy films. I like when films, they have heart to them as well as having comedy, and this really does have a lot of heart to it, this film, whilst also having excellent comedy in it. As I said, it's got one of my favourite scenes in a film of all time, which, if you've seen it, I'm talking about the garden scene at the end, which is just hilarious. And yeah, it's just a fantastic film. I urge anyone to watch all of these films, but this one, if you specifically like romantic comedies, because it is probably my favourite romantic comedy film. So yeah, that is Crazy Stupid Love. And I will say, I am going to do separate video, not for romantic comedy, because the romantic comedies I like are in here, but I will do a romantic drama list, because that is one of my favourite genres, so that'll probably be top 10, but that might be my next one, I don't know, we'll just have to wait and see. Next up, which is coming in at number 4, is a film directed by Paul Feig, produced by Judd Apatow. And on the back it says, better than The Hangover. Well, I think it is, because it's obviously higher up in the list. Funniest film of the year. Again, I agree, because it's the highest film on the list. It's the highest film on my list of the films that came out in this year, if that makes any sense. And that is Bridesmaids. Fantastic. We get introduced to some great comedy actors here. I mean, this was where Melissa McCarthy broke out. She's one of my favourite comedy actors. You've also got Kristen Wiig, she had done films before this, but I would definitely say this is a breakout film. Um, it's just a great film. Again, the comedy and the heart is there, and it's just one of my favorite modern comedies, because it's just really well done, really well executed, and if you like your romantic, it's kind of a chick flick, but not. It's still got a lot of comedy that I think anyone can enjoy. I definitely recommend it, because it's a really good film. That is Bridesmaids. Coming in number three, my favourite modern comedy of all time. Um, I laugh through this film the whole way through, because I just think it's excellent, and that is Step Brothers, Will Ferrell, John C. Reilly. It's just a fantastic comedy film, one of the best. It's in my top three, obviously. Um, One of my favourite scenes in this film has to be the bunk bed scene. I don't know why, because I'm sure there are much funnier scenes in this film, but that just cracks me up every time. Um, and it's just, if you don't know, it's about two middle-aged loafers. They just don't want to leave home, and both their parents. I think it's his. I don't know if it's his mother and his father, but they get married anyway, so they become stepbrothers, and because they both still living at home, they have to live together, but they don't get along, and it is just hilarious. I definitely recommend checking this out because it is an hilarious film, and as I said, my favourite modern comedy. So yeah, that is Step Brothers. Coming in at number two, these two are extremely difficult because I absolutely love these films. They are, to me, the best comedy films ever made, and probably will be the best comedy films ever made. Coming in at number two, I'll just get on with it, is the Blues Brothers. If you've not seen the Blues Brothers and you like comedy, watch it. This is a fantastic film. Um, Belushi, Dan Aykroyd, and it's not just that. You've got lots of singers in this. You've got James Brown, Ray Charles, Aretha Franklin, Cab Calloway, um, and then you've also got a small supporting cast, with John Candy, Carrie Fisher. It's just hilarious what happens. They're obviously play two brothers that just got out of jail, and they go back to where they were brought up, which is a church, and the place is going to be sold in 11 days if the tax isn't paid. So they decide they're going to go and do some gigs, to get the money. But it's like a road trip film kind of, and it's just hilarious. The mall scene is hilarious when when they're being chased. When they're in the, I don't know really what you call it. Is it like a? It's not a diner. It's like a not a pub either. You know what I mean? The rawhide scene, fantastic. It's just a great film, and I think they are probably the best comedy pairing ever. It's absolutely fantastic. Um, I could talk about this all day because I just love it so much. But yeah, that is The Blues Brothers, which is my second favourite comedy film and the second one that I recommend you the most of all time. And then this is also, this is in my top 10, I think, favourite films of all time, and is my favourite comedy of all time. Um, Everyone, I think, should watch this at least once, because if not more. I'll give you a bit of background before I show you what it is. So I discovered this just before Christmas last year on Netflix, and decided to watch it. Thought it'd be an alright comedy. So I did. I watched it, and I loved it so much. And I don't usually do this. I impulse buy the next day the 4K for £20. I don't ever do that. So obviously I loved it that much. And as soon as it came, I watched it again. And that is Groundhog Day, with Bill Murray. This is the most, for me, rewatchable film ever. I could just watch this over and over again and it doesn't get boring for me. And that is kind of I don't know what the word is, considering this is a film about having the same day over and over again, you know, but it's just fantastic. You'd think you'd get bored because it's about the man having the same day over and over again, but it's not. It's just, words can't describe how much I love this film. It is, as I say, one of my favourite films of all time, and it's just absolutely fantastic film. Um, Bill Murray is probably my favourite comedy actor ever. With this Ghostbusters, which I would consider a comedy, but it's more sci-fi, and I will probably, not that I own it physically, if I was to do like an 80s list, that would definitely be in my 80s list. But yeah, absolutely love this. If you like comedy, watch this, because this is fantastic and is my favourite comedy film of all time. So that is Groundhog Day, my #1 film that I recommend to you. And that is it. I know it went on a bit long, but I wanted to tell you really why I think that you should watch each of these films. I didn't want to just show you the film and then go on to the next film. I really wanted to get across why I think you should watch these films. So I apologise if it's a bit long, but I need, if you like this series, I mean, let me know, because I do plan on continuing it. As I said, I think my next one will probably be a romantic drama, so just have to look out for that. Because I like a lot of romantic drama films, because it is my favourite genre. But yeah, that is it. So if you like the video, don't forget to give it a like. If for some reason you didn't like the video, then by all means give it a dislike. But if you do choose to dislike it, I'd appreciate it if you let me know why down in the comment section below. Subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Turn your notification bell on so you know when I have a new video uploaded onto the channel. Comment down below anything, everything. You know, I will always go out to anyone that takes the time to leave me a comment, because I really appreciate it. And that is it. So until next time, everyone, take care. Goodbye.